Det var mörkt och dimmigt. Jag gick förbi kyrkan och jag kände mig iakttagen. Jag försökte skicka tankar till dig. Jag försökte ringa dig. Men du svarade inte. Så jag fortsatte gå.
What's up guys, Steve Garcia. I'm the service manager here at Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson. Going to talk to you today about my 2020 Lowered RS build. It's been a long time coming since my last bike. I had a 2015 Street Bob, pretty decked out. Came out on Matt's channel when I first started here, maybe about 5-6 years ago. Love that bike. Unfortunately, I had an accident in it. Pretty gnarly damage to it. Was the Gunship Gray Street Bob. Check it out on Matt's video, one of his older videos. Got married, bought a house, so bike was kind of on hold. But I came back with full force, bought this one and picked up a Street Glide. So kind of making up for lost time. Being a part of the Battle of the Kings build team, we designed the Coast Glide with the similar fairing, the FXRT fairing. We actually ran Russ Warnemonts. Wanted to do something different. I love that bike. There was things that I wanted to do to that bike that I did to this one. I wanted to do carbon fiber. I was fortunate to have a buddy, Ghost Composites, that made a FXRT fairing in carbon fiber. So I was thankful for him. Took care of me on that one. Big shout out to Ghost Composites. Check them out. And then Seth at Aggressive Designs, always been a good painter, good artist, and I've always gave him some ideas as far as our builds here at Laidlaw's. He's always promised me a paint job. When are you gonna get another bike? When you want to do something crazy for you? So I pitched him a couple of ideas, and like every artist, he threw in his own. I wasn't a fan of the gold, not gonna lie. He kind of threw a curveball at me with the gold on the tank, gold on the pinstripes. Once it was said and done, he nailed it. I mean, you can't knock an artist for wanting to get creative. That's what he does. You know, I do the build design part of it, so all the guys at the shop were kind of giving me crap because of the gold, but you know, I won't mention any names, Eric Powell. I wanted to go with that old school Evel Knievel color scheme with that bagger racing theme, performance bagger. It's a big trend right now. I've always been a fan of like sprint car numbers. Played a lot of sports as a kid, baseball, basketball. My number was always 24. Funny thing, I got it from Ken Griffey Jr., baseball player, and everybody thinks it's Kobe. I love Kobe, diehard Kobe fan. I pitched some ideas to Seth about old sprint car numbers. When I seen it, I thought he was crazy. I thought it was crazy big, but once he put it all together and laid some graphics, I think he nailed it. With the HPI pipe, a good buddy of mine torched it. Has a pretty gnarly torch. Jose at Gorilla Garage, he torched it for me to get it as close as possible to the gold on the bike. Pretty cool, pretty gnarly torch. He burned down his little fort, you would say, with that gnarly torch. So I went with the HBI pipe. Always been a big fan of their pipes. Power pipe, love how it sounds, real strong. It accommodated the 475 S&S cam kit that I installed. Pretty trick. I've always been a fan of power. Here at Laidlaw's, we do a lot of rides. Haven't been able to go on them lately, but always wanted something reliable, and the S&S 475 kit has always been clutch. I know we did it in Andrew's Road King, and he loves it. My dad always said you always want more power, so I ordered a 128 S&S kit that's gonna be going on next week. Sad to say the bike's gonna get torn apart again, but I always love more power. I mean, I'm never satisfied. I wanted to do a lot of detail on this bike. Here at Laidlaw's, we're really picky on detail. I see a lot of nice bikes out there that just don't go the full yard with detail. So I went with Harley-Davidson's blacked out hardware kit and added some more hardware of my own. There's only 2 bolts in here that aren't black. This bike was built for Born Free along with the Overglide, so it was pretty a stressful month for me trying to get 2 bikes done for the month of July. So I wanted to do like an FXR style fuel tank. I got rid of the center console on the 2020. The gauges are on the center console. So I got rid of that, chopped the tabs off, did some body work on it, got rid of the dummy fuel tank plug on there. Wanted to go as retro as possible running this FXR fairing. A lot of people don't notice the little details like that, and I think it came out great. Seth kind of made it look like a center console. Quite a bit of body work. Fortunate to have a good friend, once again, Ghost Composites, to help me out with that body work. And then Seth spent a ton of hours on this paint job, and I can't thank him enough, and he nailed it. I wanted to keep the original Harley-Davidson Lowrider S ST logo, just to give it that old school flavor, and it worked. I'm not the tallest guy, so I know a lot of guys do 14s and 16-inch, T-bar setup. I build my bikes for comfort and to be ridden. So I went with hardcase 8-inch risers, blacked out all the hardware. Then I went with Krause's Raptor pullback. I like Krause setup, nothing against it. It's just I felt that the hardcase was the best bet for me. My arm posture was on point. The thickness, the angle, it just worked for me. I've always been a big fan of the gauge relocation kit. I went with a Drag Specialties relocation kit off a Sportster, and I modified it to fit my Lowrider S. Harley-Davidson makes some gnarly speedo gauge covers that fit on the factory Lowrider S where it would be here. So I used that. I try to get as much black as possible. It's even been to the point where I got an all black quad lock. I'm running the Sport Glide emblems just to give it a little different flavor on the fairing. Went with the stock Lowrider S levers. A good friend of mine cut his down, so he did me a favor and powder coated them for me. So shout out to James Lord. He cut them for me, shaved them down, and he powder coated them for me. I got a lot of 3D printing work done from a good friend of mine, Harry Customs. I wanted to do the Dynojet tuner just because it's on the fly. He made me a custom Dynojet bracket that fit perfectly on the risers. I know a lot of guys put it in the center console. I just wanted to be different. He also made me a custom grill. It's got my Instagram name on there and going back to my baseball number 24. Crazy what 3D printing can do. I gave him an idea and he ran with it. I didn't realize that 3D printing took so long. He told me that that thing was on the 3D machine for about 24 to 28 hours. We went with Thrashin. Thrashin's it's a big popular brand now. I love all their stuff, clothing. So I went with their foot pegs, Thrashin's foot pegs. I went with a Flow brake pedal. Thrashin needs to catch up and make one. Probably get mad at me for saying that. Went with their timer cover. Went with Fuelin's ventilated dipstick just to help with that blow by. I ride really hard, so rather than oil puking out of your air filter, just helps the crankcase breathe. And it works pretty cool. Pretty easy access, quick release button to get to your oil level check. And I like it. I've always been a fan of bags. We did the Sport Glide bags on the Coast Glide, and that was something that I always wanted to incorporate in my bike. I know they're pretty pricey, but they're worth it. I went with the black hinges. I try to black out as much stuff as possible. Seth did an amazing job on the graphics on the bags. I wanted to do a lot of light. I ride hard, I ride fast. I like to ride at night a lot. So Kuryakin came out with these pretty trick mini LED lights, and I had to get them. Pretty bright. Went with those, integrated them to my turn signals to match the Moon's MC tail light. And they're pretty bright. So I went with that. Went with the lay down license plate. That's just common on these bikes. Went with the Thrashin Supply shifter, obviously. Went with Thrashin Supply's shifter linkage back to the foot pegs. I went with their derby cover, and it just made the bike pop. It's funny It's crazy how little things like that just make the bike overall look different. I've always been a fan of the PM rental grip. Just comfortable, they're fairly priced, and like a lot of grips, the rubber tends to go out. These, they're reusable, so it's about 12 bucks. Re-sleeve it and you're good to go. You don't have to buy grips again, because grips aren't cheap. Going back to lighting, Harley-Davidson came out with their new LED turn signals. Super bright. Got the amber, back to the LED white strip, and I love them. Super bright. I get a lot of compliments on those. Going back to light's very important. I went with the Baja Designs LP6. Got it through a good friend of mine. I know they've been back ordered. I think they still are back ordered. So I'm fortunate to have that light. I get a lot of people, giving me the finger. Hopefully they're saying hello. Usually they're not. But it's good for me to know that they see me coming, because that's, being on a bike. I know cell phone's a big thing now. Everywhere I go, I see people on the phone. So the main thing I wanted to have was people seeing me. So the light, it's fairly expensive, but it works. I had a custom headlight cover made by Ghost Composites. Carbon fiber, weighs close to nothing. Being that these lights are super bright, they have a lot of lumens, we noticed that it started to burn the clear Lexan glass. I wanted it to look as clean as possible, so I pitched this idea to him and he came through with it, and he nailed it. Another upgrade that I have, I got the radio Brembo caliper relocation kit, same Brembos that I run on the Livewire. So that's my next mod along with the 128. Didn't want to push this video back any further. You guys deserve to see this bike and just all the passion and time that I put in this. Went with the blue powder coat from Andrew's Powder Coat. Those guys are great. They do all our powder coat. Wanted a little more flake in there, silvery, to match the silver flake that Seth incorporated into the paint job, and they nailed it. I just wanted to go as retro as possible, so I went with FXR's Division Mini Engine Guard. It's pretty cool. I know a lot of guys do the Bun King and the Santoro. I just wanted to go as retro as possible, and I think it goes with the bike. It flows with the fairing, and it just gives it more of that retro look. The bike actually came with a seat, and it just worked. It pushes me closer to the bike, super comfortable, has the memory foam. So shout out to them, they make some good stuff. Suspension, I have the Russ Warnemont monoshock. Pretty comfortable. I've always liked their products. Waiting for a front drop-in kit from them. Front is stock. I did put a shim kit in there to bump it up 1.5 inches. Harry's Custom actually made me the shims. Kind of hard to see, but it just bumps your suspension up. But it's nothing like having a front suspension kit. Russ, if you're watching, I'm waiting. That's pretty much it, man. Oh, but back to the lighting. I did the S1 Baja Design Ambers in the front. Custom grills made by Gorilla Garage. These guys super talented. We couldn't find any bracketry that would work, so I pitched him an idea. He did it on his bike as well. Came out great. Haven't had any issues. They've been on there since July, and no cracks, no issues. So, but more lighting. We can never have enough lighting on there. Shout out to Clockworks. They took good care of me on the windshield. We were running kind of short on time for Born Free. Matt made a call and they took care of us, so shout out to them. Check them out, man. They make really good stuff. I have one on my street glide and all my friends have them. It just works. The flare just kind of goes over your head. I know they're making colored ones now. Hoping they come out with a blue, cough cough, blue one. I think it would be pretty trick to have a blue FXR2 windshield on there. But future mods, like I said, we're doing the 128 kit next week, doing the Brembro radial calipers. I don't ride this bike as much as I'd like to. I have a street glide and that's kind of like my daily. This is more of my show bike, cruiser bike, bar hopper. It's funny, my wife actually likes riding this bike. This is something I'm gonna definitely keep. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Super excited to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think? What do you like? What could I have done different? Hit me up. I'm on IG. Matt will put my IG on there. I'm here at the dealership Tuesday through Saturday. We're a big family here. If you want to talk, you have any ideas that you want, or give me a call. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.
Det var länge sedan vi såg.